Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here.
Jacob here, meeting my icon, Catherine Isabel Dane Lorenzo.
Wait, what did you say?
Dane Lorenzo.
Have a good one. Mwah.
You guys better subscribe and watch my friend on his YouTube channel. He is kicking ass.
What's the last thing you remembered?
All of a sudden, there was a light, and then I was falling.
Who are you?
I was supposed to be executed 2 days ago.
And I was in combat. So was I.
Black Ops.
Yakuza.
We need to work as a team.
Does this look like a team-orientated group of individuals to you?
They can hear you, smell you, and see you. We were chosen.
Chosen for what?
This planet is a game preserve. And we're the game.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring another movie review. This time we're going to be talking about Predators, released in 2010.
They learn. They adapt. You want to survive? Dig in deep.
Who's your daddy now?
How do we kill them? However you can.
Directed by Nimrod Attel and produced in part by Robert Rodriguez. This came out back in 2010 and starred Adrian Brody along with Alice Braga, Topher Grace, Walton Goggins, Lawrence Fishburne, Danny Trejo, Marshala Ali, and others. So yeah, after the Predator, I did my review on that a little while ago now, after the new film. I kind of want to go back and watch some of the previous films for a certain reason or another. You guys can go watch my full review of the new movie, but I basically wanted to get a different taste in my mouth after watching that one. The new movie was entertaining, but it just felt like it lacked a lot of the quality of pretty much all the other films, at least for me. And when I first seen Predators in 2010, I see every Predator movie in theaters that I can, really. But when I seen this in 2010, I was a bit mixed on it as well. But I've come around to it, and I think when you watch this compared to the new movie, the difference in quality and how these kinds of films should be is pretty noticeable. Now, you can argue that Predators is more of a safe route, another group in a jungle type of area, right? At least the Predator tried to do something different, but they threw a bunch of other weird mixed things into it, and I don't want to go on and rant about that again. But Predators, on the other hand, I think is actually a fairly decent and solid version of the original film nowadays, I guess. I'm not going to say it's as good as the original film, so calm down. But I feel like it feels just better that this is another version of it compared to The Predator. This feels more accurate to what a Predator film should be, although, again, it is more of a usual type of thing to do for these kinds of movies, I guess. But yeah, so, like I said, this was produced by Robert Rodriguez, and it was written by Alex Ledovic and Michael Finch. Sorry if I pronounce names oddly, I just don't know sometimes. But yeah, like I said, it starred Adrian Brody. Now I've seen people have problems with Adrian Brody as a lead before. Like I was, some people just don't like Adrian Brody playing the tough guy, I guess, or people thought he was trying to emulate, Arnold Schwarzenegger too much or something, especially with, the mud scene, towards the end and stuff like that. But honestly, if you see, I don't have a picture ready right now, but if you see Adrian Brody, he's in shape, he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, muscular, bulky, or anything like that. But just because you're not a bodybuilder doesn't mean you don't know how to kill people, You can be lean and still be fairly fit and stuff like that, not be like hulking or something, Not every killer is, built like that, so. The cast I really do like in this movie, though. I think it's pretty loaded. There are a couple that are underutilized, of course, but overall I think it's a better cast, again, than the new film. Or at least they're used a little bit better. Maybe, for the most part. We'll get into that in a minute, but I thought everyone did a pretty good job in this movie. Some people say Adrian Brody's also channeling his best Christian Bale Batman with his voice. I don't know about that, but I thought Adrian Brody was fine. He wouldn't have been my first pick either, but I actually think I do like him more than Boyd Holbrook in the new one. It works well as, sort of putting it off like he, he's introverted because of the kind of life he's lived and the kind of person, he's become and everything. He does a decent job of that. And I really like Alice Braga in this movie. She's probably my favorite in the movie, actually. She's Queen of the South now. She did a pretty good job in I Am Legend as well. So I like her. She definitely feels a lot more useful than Olivia Munn's scientist character in the new one. Walton Goggins, he's a good character actor. A lot of people know him from Justified, as do I. He works perfectly as, sort of this prisoner that you just know is just sketchy and could sort of just drop at any moment. Or go off at any moment, I should say. Mahershala Ali, I think he's been underutilized, but he does pretty good with what little he's given in this. I feel like he was, taken out of it a bit too soon. But he's gained more prominence over the past few years, with Luke Cage and everything. So maybe if this movie had come out, right now, then maybe he would have had a bigger role in this movie. And you also have Danny Trejo in this, and I really like Danny Trejo. He mostly does a lot of B movies and stuff like that, but you can tell he has a really good personality, and if you see him outside of it, he really comes across like a really good down-to-earth guy. But typically his characters don't last long, or he's a bad guy or something like that. So we don't really get too much of Machete versus the Predator in this, unfortunately. And then you have Oleg Tekatrov. He's this Russian, commando type of guy. I guess the closest character we'd have from the original film, I suppose. And he's fine as well. He probably has one of the better, I'll just say death scenes in the movie. Although it's kind of a double negative, or a positive negative. I don't know what I'm saying. Like I said, I just like the cast, and another thing I liked right away about this movie, though, is the pacing. Because it opens with Adrian Brody's character, Royce, being just dropped from the air. We just see him falling and him waking up, and, panicking and stuff like that, then, getting his parachute out. And then it starts, and he's dropped in this unknown area, and then he slowly meets up with Isabel, you know, Braga's character, and the others. And, you know, it feels like it's fast-paced there, you know, like it throws us right into it, but then it actually takes its time, you know, it's a good amount of time before we actually see our first predator directly. And I appreciated its patience with that as well, you know, it sort of felt like it was channeling the first one in that regard as well, sort of, you know, building it up and giving it time. And then another cast member I did want to mention is also Topher Grace. You can decide what you want about the twist of his character in the movie, but I thought Topher Grace did a good job in this movie, actually. He came off likable when he had to, and when more is revealed about his character later, it feels natural, you know, he kind of naturally, you know, sort of changes his whole, like, posture and stuff like that, and he does it pretty organically, too, you know, credit to him on that end. And another actor who is pretty good, although he has very little dialogue in the movie, is Luis Usawa. I can't pronounce his whole name. It's Hanzo. You know, supposedly a member of the Yakuza. You know, and he has, you know, apparently he probably has the most honor out of anyone in this movie. We'll talk more about him in a few minutes as well. But, you know, eventually find out these characters have been, you know, plucked from Earth, you know, sort of chosen by these predators, you know, to hunt on this game preserve planet, where they drop other creatures, as we discover, you know, a little bit throughout the movie as well. And then we eventually meet Lawrence Fishburne's character. Lawrence Fishburne is a great actor. You know, from Matrix to Hannibal and every other little thing he's done. Standoff with Thomas Jane, which I reviewed a while ago. You know, he's done just a ton. And he really portrayed his character well here, I thought, as this guy who's been, you know, supposedly, you know, trapped on there for you know, a few seasons now, and sort of just basically just really can't remove himself from that mentality of having to survive. You know, he's talking to himself and stuff like that, and he does a pretty good job, and I think he definitely should have been in more of the film. And so yeah, this movie was, I guess, safe in regards to its premise. It was simple. But I think it actually mostly succeeded. You know, there's some lukewarm parts to it, I guess. It's not the best of the franchise, but I think it's definitely one of the better ones, at least within the first. I actually like this movie better than Predator 2, and definitely better than The Predator. We also have the Predator dogs in this movie, or the hounds, which were introduced in this that I wanted to talk about. Their design's actually pretty cool, and it's a shame that they really mangled it into giving it like a weird predator head with dreadlocks in the new movie. But in this, they actually look pretty good, I think. The CGI on them's not bad either. And as for the predators themselves, I actually really like all their designs, from their masks to what we see of the main Berserker predator eventually. I thought they all worked pretty well. You know, they were supposedly super predators, I guess, but if you really know predator lore and stuff like that, you know these are probably, you know, bad bloods. Especially the way Berserker fights, you can tell he uses sort of cheaper, dirtier fighting tactics with the classic a little bit later, which we'll talk about. But, you know, they come across stronger, a little bit bigger, but not just like over the top marketing thing like the giant predator in the new one. That just looked ridiculous. Not just because of the bad CGI either. But these things feel like they fit more naturally into the world we know. I liked the predator that was you know, in charge of the hounds and stuff like that, the tracker, to the far right there. I thought he should have been around longer as well, though he's involved in a pretty decent send-off of that Russian, you know, Nikolai. And I really liked the Falconer as well. I'm kind of curious what he looked like under that mask, but we can't see him all, I guess. But he's involved in some people's favorite moment of the whole movie with Hanzo there, actually, for a moment having honor, and you know, sort of doing that dual showdown type of thing, which I thought was really good. And now I admit I watched this an old rental DVD copy I have of it. I'm planning on getting a whole Blu-ray set of the 3 films at some point soon. So unfortunately my copy actually skipped and froze a little bit, which was really frustrating. But still I managed to see most of what I wanted anyway. And then I also, okay, hold on a second, I feel like I'm missing a picture here. Hold on. I swear I saved something else. I guess I didn't. Oh boy. Alright. So hold on a second, guys. I apologize. Maybe I'll just edit this part out of the video. Alright. Alright, then we also have this classic Predator in the movie, who we see has been held and tortured by the Bad Blood Berserker Predators, for an undisclosed amount of time, unless there's a prequel comic out there or something, I guess, that explained a little bit more. But basically, the classic Predator is more of a traditional, honorable kind of Predator. Royce eventually freeing him and stuff like that to get access to the ship. And he actually, this Predator actually abides by that, and keeps his agreement and everything. And we see a fight between him and the Berserker, which we'll talk about in a minute. I really like the look of the classic, of course, obvious throwback to the original film. He looked pretty good without his mask, too, and he's by far my favorite Predator in the movie, although, like I said, the other ones worked for me as well for what they were. And the fight between the Berserker and Classic was pretty good. Granted, the Classic, again, had been, tortured and just sort of left hanging there for how long, so he was obviously starved and, just worn out and obviously not at perfect condition. So maybe Classic could have actually beaten this one, beaten Berserker if he had a chance. He got a few hits and stuff like that, and he seemed fairly intelligent. But of course, Berserker ends up winning, and I actually felt bad when I seen Classic get his head taken off. So I would have preferred that fight going a different way, but for some reason, Predators always have to die in every single movie, every one of them, unless it's one that wasn't directly involved with the story. So that always frustrates me, so, I prefer to seeing, the Classic somehow win and then letting Royce go on the ship or something like that. I don't know. But I know that's not how these movies usually work, so it kind of is what it is. But if you're actually a fan of Predators, I notice most, fans I talk to on message boards, they'd rather have a Predator be the protagonist and survive over humans every single time, But Hollywood feels like we always need a human to, secure the victory and be the hero. But anyway, I still like the Classic for what we got of him in the movie, though. And again, maybe if he was at better health, he would have actually won. Still, a decent fight for what it was, though. Like I said, I liked Alice Braga in the movie. I liked her use of the sniper rifle. She actually felt useful in the movie without really having to push it. And her and Adrian Brody had decent chemistry, I think. They didn't really try to force any direct romance into it, though, which I thought was good. But yeah, overall, I just think Predators is a really, really solid film, and I think it's especially superior to the new one we've gotten. I can actually take it seriously and get immersed in it, and I think that's a plus. So overall, I'm giving Predators a solid B. So yeah, then we guys thought about this one. How do you think it compares to The Predator? Where do you rank it amongst the rest of the franchise? You can find Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.